Willa Johnson hoists the claret jug for the second straight season. Who will conquer Royal Troon? Hello, I'm Teryn Schaefer alongside John Swantek for your Open Championship preview. And Swan, it's just a links course. It's going to be a breeze, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If the wind isn't blowing, and good luck with that this week. The old course at Royal Troon has proven to be quite the test for the oldest major championship in golf. Laid out along the west coast of Scotland, the players are going to have to deal with a northwesterly breeze, which could aid them on the outward nine. There, with the wind at their backs, they'll have the best opportunity to log some birdies. But when they get to number 8, Teryn, they've got to beware because on paper, it can be a little bit deceiving.
That's right. Don't let that 125-yard par 3 trick you. The Postage Stamp, as it's called, has a tiny green surrounded by bunkers and runoffs that can come back to bite you if you aren't cautious. Players will likely have to deal with wind in their face as they tackle the inward 9, where par is more of a coveted score. Just ask Troon's most recent winners.
Yeah, for sure. We got quite the pattern here, don't we? Take a look at the last 6 Open winners at Troon since 1950. The Americans have cleaned up. How about that? Winning the last 6 times the Open Championship has visited. Most recently, of course, Todd Hamilton back in 2004, epically upsetting the Big Easy Ernie Els in a 4-hole playoff for his first and only major championship. Speaking of playoffs, what about last year's playoff at St. Andrews? Zach Johnson defending his Open Championship this week, coming off that 3-man playoff with Louis Oosthuizen and Mark Leishman last year to add the claret jug to his green jacket.
It was an epic showdown that had Jordan Spieth and Jason Day on the outside looking in, missing the playoff by just 1 stroke. Not to mention, Spieth had his eye on the Grand Slam at that point with a green jacket and the U.S. Open silver in his trophy case. And someone not too far off from that feat, Dustin Johnson. Do you think that he can do 3 in a row here?
Ooh, it's asking a lot. I wouldn't put it past him. He definitely has the hottest hand coming in, doesn't he? I mean, take a look. The U.S. Open, a World Golf Championship. That makes 2 wins in a row, 4 top 5s for DJ in as many starts. He just surpassed Patrick Reed for the most top 10s this season with 10. He's also first in the FedEx Cup rankings and has jumped to number 2 in the official World Golf rankings.
So who's your favorite this week?
Well, I'm going to leave DJ off the table, and Spieth off the table, and Rory off the table, and Jason Day off the table. How about Sergio Garcia?
I like it.
It feels like his year. He's 14th in FedEx Cup points, 12th in the World Golf rankings. Last 2 starts for Sergio, a win at the Byron Nelson that tied for 5th at the U.S. Open. One of 11 top 5 finishes in majors for Garcia, who has been tormented in these major championships through the years, but everything feels right to me with Sergio. I think it's his time this week, Teryn.
He sure has had his doses there in major championships, but you know, I can't pick DJ again either. I don't know, 3 in a row seems hard to do, so I'm gonna go with Branden Grace. He was T5 at the U.S. Open, T10 at Bridgestone. He played well this past week at the Scottish Open, and guess what? The last non-American to win at Troon was a South African, so why not Grace? You know, he could do it this time as well.
You've done your research.
I did.
Nice job. Let's pick some sleepers. Lee Westwood has fallen to 39th in the official World Golf rankings. Former #1 ranked player in the world. He had a tough final round at the U.S. Open, shot that 80, but did finish with a share of 2nd place at the Masters this year. One of 11 top 5s in majors. Same total as Sergio, by the way. There's some synergy with my picks, so Lee Westwood is my sleeper here this week.
I guess I'm liking the South Africans this week because I'm going to go with Louis Oosthuizen as my sleeper pick. He already has a British Open under his belt, top 25 at most all the majors this season, and he was the runner-up last year, so why not? I just don't think people have him on their radar.
Yeah, surprisingly, because he's a world-class player. So, all right, Oosthuizen for Teryn, Westwood for me. Let's check out when and where you can watch the action from across the pond this week, Thursday and Friday. You can watch through the night. Coverage begins 1:30 a.m. Eastern, just as I'm getting back from church, and ends at 4 p.m. on the Golf Channel. Saturday and Sunday, set your alarms because coverage runs from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern on Golf Channel, then switches over to NBC at 7 a.m. You can also watch the PGA Tour's other event this week, the Barbasol Championship, from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Golf Channel Thursday and Friday, and then on the weekend from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern.
I don't think I'm going to have time to sleep this week. All right, let's check out where you can listen to the Open Championship coverage on Sirius XM Thursday and Friday from 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday from 4 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Sunday from 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. Well, that'll do it for us here on the Open Championship Preview Show. For John Swantek, I'm Teryn Schaefer. Cheerio.